It's me, TD Flenaugh and Lauren Moseley.
Hey, hello, everyone out there in podcast land. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, hump day.
It's Wednesday around here. Okay, so how are things going for you?
Well, it is the week before Thanksgiving break. Let's just say everybody is ready for Friday.
Okay.
Everybody's ready for Friday. The kids are ready. The principal's ready. The teachers are ready. No, it's going great. We're actually going to have...
We ready?
You're
No,
ready.
it's fine.
We're having a fall festival on Friday.
Hi, thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. We have this podcast to help parents and caregivers with having the resources, strategies, and tools needed to make sure that their children are on track for learning and to stay on track for success.
And a lot of family, and the kids get some time to do some fun carnival, fall fun things. So everybody's bringing their money for their tickets and talking about Friday. Today was picture day. So everybody was all dressed to the nines. Yeah, first graders, I'm really proud of our firsties parents. They show up and show out for picture day.
Do you say the firsties?
The firsties, that's what I call them. My first graders. They came in like full on ball gowns. I mean, it was like they were going to a quinceañera. Like they looked gorgeous. Hair done. The moms must have got up at 4:00 this morning to do that hair. Hair was updo with the trindles and the little spirals around their face, and the patent leather shoes.
Oh,
yeah, it was
so cute.
It was very cute. So today was a good day, but I am ready for a break. I am ready for that week off. Yeah.
Yes. So it's interesting. Your fall festival is like the end of November. Ours is in October. So we had ours about a month ago. I think it's more closely like Halloween, but not Halloween. But
right.
You know.
Well, we had what was called Spooktacular for Halloween. So we actually had a whole academic day, but everything was kind of like Halloween theme. Our district doesn't mind Halloween. Some districts are really, they kind of draw the line. Halloween is not nearly as embraced. But our district,
right?
Yeah, they're like, have Halloween, have costumes, have, the whole Halloween.
We did that too, but we also had a fall festival.
Yeah.
So.
Now, do you remember being in school? Did you guys do Halloween though? Because I was at Catholic school and we did not do Halloween.
Yes, we did Halloween. We had like something in the evening. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
But we did, we dressed up and we had what would be called a fall festival out here, but it was in the evening. Well, I don't know if it was in the evening. I grew up in Alaska, remember? So it was dark. And we didn't go 24-hour darkness where I was, but definitely it got late, 4:35, so
right.
It didn't have to be that late.
Right.
But it was dark.
Felt like it was late to you, right?
Yeah, so it was nice though. It was after school. I remember going home, getting dressed. So I felt like it was later in the evening because we went home. It wasn't something that we did right after school. It was something we went home, got dressed, and then went.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's escaping me because I know they didn't call it the fall festival. They called it something, but I can't remember the name of what they called it. A carnival or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what are some things now that we're in? So we're almost to the halfway of our school year, I think. Not, we're in the holidays. What are some things that are really coming up for you or you're thinking about as far as what's happening with instruction or what's happening with, just some things that parents and educators can think about to help their students?
Yeah, well, I am thinking about how hard the kids have been working. I think we're in this sweet spot where kids have really, compared to where they were in August and where they are now, I am definitely seeing growth. My goal has been to get the kids talking more. to get them, one of our we have 4 goals every day. One is listening ears, safe bodies, and the other one is share my thoughts and being responsible. So sharing my thoughts has been like a really big thing. I've really been asking the kids, hey, how can you meet your goal today of sharing your thoughts? So I'm giving them a lot of sentence stems and a lot of opportunities to answer questions in complete sentences. And I'm just noticing it really is creating a very rich conversation. You know, my kids are intentionally using the vocabulary. You know, we're learning about early American civilizations right now. So there is opportunity for them to really dive into some, kind of, I told them there are people in college studying these topics, studying them in first grade. So giving them those opportunities to talk about the Maya and the Aztecs and the Inca and, their leaders and their religion and the cities and, the way that they farmed. So I'm really, I have parent conferences coming up the week we get back from Thanksgiving. And one of the things I'm going to talk to the parents about is ways they can boost their child's vocabulary and just helping them have a voice, helping them to, asking them questions to help them expand. Sometimes we ask them questions like, how was your day? Great. What do you like to eat? Asking them questions, well, why? And, why do you like that? And, expand.
Why is this better than the other?
Right.
Like if, they want a pizza rather than chicken, like why was the pizza better?
Right.
And so that's great. And then, do you want to talk about the instructional feedback that you got?
Yes, that is. I do. So we have what's called the Do Now first thing in the morning because we are a whole child school, and I love the whole child model. Part of it is, of course, the warm greeting as they cross the threshold of your classroom. So every teacher is standing in the doorway, and the child gets to pick the way that they want to be greeted. It's either a hug or a high five. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have seen this. It seems like it kind of kicked off during the pandemic. You really saw this a lot. And so those greetings they don't take a long time, but it's a lot longer than if you just say, okay, everybody walk in the classroom, right? So you got to give the kids who are in the classroom something to do. So my firsties have routines, and one of the routines is a do now, which is I guess it could also be referred to as a warm up, the morning warm up. And so my kids, because I'm teaching them to use their voice, if they don't understand what the do now is, or they're reading the directions, but some of my kids aren't readers yet, they might ask their friend, is this how I do it? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Do I copy the word? Do I copy the sentence? Do I have to copy the sentence? Like sometimes there's a little confusion.
Right.
And so I ask them to ask their partner, ask 3 before me. I'm at the door doing some thresholding, right? Some warm.
Yes.
So we had an evaluator come in and, she gave me a little evaluation and it had all the things we're supposed to be doing. And it said, yes, 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 yes. So I was feeling really great. And then I got down to the bottom and it said silent and solo do now. No. I'm a very, how can you say this? I don't like to see those kind of things on my evaluations. I want to see all yeses. If it's supposed to be all yeses, I want to see.
Yeah.
And to have that one no, I was like, oh, still taken aback. But what I realized, and I did have a conversation with her, part of the TLAC, which is Teach Like a Champion, part of our way that we're supposed to do the do now is it has to be silent and solo. So the kids can't talk. They're not supposed to engage in any kind of way with each other. They have to do this warm up by themselves with no input. I think there's some value in that. You want kids to be able to work and be independent learners and, try to use some critical thinking skills to try to figure things out. But if the goal is to keep them from, to be busy while I'm doing this, if I make it so easy that they can finish it without any help at all, then they're going to be finished in 2 seconds, and then there's management issues, right? If I make it too hard or at grade level or a little below grade level, I still have kids who are going to need help, which is what I do. I make it, it's a lot of the kindergarten review skills. So a lot of my kids are like, they're done rather quickly, but it's work. They have to write a sentence. They have to write capital letters. They have to write a period at the end. They have to fill in the blank. So some of my kids need help. They cannot read everything independently. So for my kids to be able to have some ownership of their learning, I tell them, if you get stuck, ask your friend, can you tell me what that word is? Can you help me spell that out? Can you check my work to see if I did it right? Like, that's just things that I've taught them to do. So the evaluator comes in and says, they're talking. And I'm like, yeah, good for them. I'm glad. I want them to help each other. I want them to, yes, have productive struggle, but it's only a, 5-minute little review. I want them to be able to not have to start the day off and not be successful. The first thing you're going to do in the morning, I want you to be successful. And if you need help, advocate for yourself and ask. So anyway, we had that conversation, and she says, well, I was just writing down what I observed, and it's supposed to be silent and solo. So that's why you got to know. So anyway.
Well, I hear what you're saying. Like, you don't want that to have a note on it, but I feel like your justification of it makes sense, and you could feel secure in that. I mean, I feel like I wanted to really hear all about it, because, I don't really know what it is, right? Because you're teaching in a different context. And as we're thinking about this and implications for people who might be homeschooling their children, or implications for other educators, or parents, like getting feedback about what their child is like at school, or what they're doing, or what they're supposed to be able to do on their own. I also am thinking about that in that aspect. And so, but I think, you're very justified in having that be something that they're talking and advocating for.
The Rewrite Method and the Rewrite Method Workbook are your go-to resource for helping kids to learn to fall in love with writing. It has the tips, tools, resources, strategies, and skill-building activities to help kids fall out of writing hate and into loving to write. Get your book set today.
I think maybe this person observing classes might notice that there are times where teachers have scaffolding in place and they're not ever taking it away. And so this is a scaffold where they're doing something with support, right? So, I think you're justified in what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's for educators. We always have to be reflective about why we're doing things and what makes sense. I think, all of those things, we need to make sure that they're greeted, take time to do it, right? Because even if you're doing it, you could do it really in a fast way that's not personable, like clip, clap, 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 like, just come in, but you're taking time to do it, but also making sure that the students have something. It is their first thing of the day. For it to just be like silent and solo, the very first thing as a first grader. Okay, maybe fifth graders, eighth graders, maybe, but I don't know about first grade.
Right.
And I think this is just like a yes or no checklist. And I don't think they're thinking more about it. And maybe their overall was positive, but you obviously were like on them about that, right?
And also,
but I think it's great, though. I think it's great to have that conversation, like people to visit, and you could get feedback. And of course, they see a snapshot of your class. Yes, I have seen, educators were then all day, they're getting support with their work. And then the kids are not getting a chance to work independently on their work at all, which of course becomes problematic because we have assessments in place where you're not able to give help.
Right.
You're not able to, as they get over, you can even read directions to them. And we have, and some of us, and I feel like my experience as I've worked at the district level and I've worked at as an instructional coach at the school level. I have seen where a lot of teachers just keep scaffolds in place all year, never remove them. And then, while the atmosphere is great, the teachers working hard, the students are working, the results aren't going to show up because when I am put in a place where I have to do something by myself, the teacher's not giving me a sentence frame. The teacher's not giving me a graphic organizer. The teacher's not even reading the directions.
Right.
And then I'm supposed to do this. And I'm like,
right.
Well, where's the sentence frame?
Right.
Where's the graphic organizer?
Yeah.
So that's what my first thought when I heard, because I didn't know anything about it. But I feel like this first 5 minutes is very much justified. 5 minutes. Even I would even say this could be in place all year. Like, I don't think there's a reason for you to have to change it. But of course there's other parts of the day where they can become silent and solo and work on something by themselves, because you do want to know what they know how to do.
Right.
Because before that, I'm just speculating. Mm-hmm. No, Lauren doesn't know how to do this. I'm going to just give her help.
Right.
I'm going to give her the graphic organizer because she doesn't know how to choose her own graphic organizer. But if I give them that experience to say, find your own graphic organizer that you're going to use for this compare and contrast essay, and maybe I'll see 5 kids were able to do it. One didn't even know what a graphic organizer was. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever I would have information, because a lot of people just assume, oh, no, first graders won't be able to do this or that or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a kick in the butt. I've definitely felt kicked in the butt when people come to visit me. They don't really know all the time what's going on before this, what's going on after this. Mm-hmm. They don't know the nature of your class, where my class needs this. And whatever that is. But I don't think it wasn't an administrator or anything, right?
No,
it was like a coach.
No. And I will say there's so many times when they are silent and solo. Like, we have to do 30 minutes of Amira, which is an app where they have their headphones on, their heads are buried in their computers. It's silent and solo. They have to do another 60 minutes of Lexia Core 5, which is another
60 minutes a day or a week?
For the week.
Okay.
Yeah, 60 minutes for the week. And then they have ST Math, which is a math app. All of these things are silent and solo. So if you do the math all day long, they have plenty of time where they literally are engaged in, let's see what you know. And when you get the answers right, we keep going. And if you get it wrong, we scaffold it down, give you a little tutoring and help you and put you back on track. So, that's a whole nother podcast for another day. The problem with having so many apps, and there's good things about it.
Right.
I was watching a kid today, as a matter of fact. He was absent, so he had to do a little double duty today. And so while the kids were working, I was just working with them, trying to see if I could, if there's anything he needed. And the patience of Amira is pretty astounding, because it's an app, right? And she's a tutor.
Yes, I'm familiar.
And so it's kind of funny how, because he was just making the same mistake over, and she would say, hey, let's try that again. And I said, wow, I can see why this is beneficial, because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. The story's got 3 parts, the same 3 parts. He keeps putting them in the opposite, order. I'm like, are you even listening to the story? You are listening. Are your headphones working? I mean, what's going on here? So just the patience of Amira is pretty impressive. I try to channel Amira sometimes. Okay, let's try that again.
Then AI tutor is what,
Yeah. So
interesting. So, I think that person, and that happens too. There's a lot of people that are out of touch with what it means in the classroom. And who knows, that person could have been a 5th grade teacher or a middle school teacher. And so like, this is silent and solo. Like, yes, for 8th graders, 7th graders, whatever, but these are 1st graders.
Yeah.
So I think it's developmentally appropriate for them to come in and be able to talk quietly as they're completing a task. Because their work, right, it can be really quick, right? If they're, and that's tricky, finding something that is challenging enough, not too easy,
right,
but not too hard,
right,
that they're doing it by themselves. That is tricky.
It is.
And then with the variety of kids that are that you're charged with in a 1st grade class, like, that's very challenging.
Right.
So I think some key takeaways, right, for parents and educators out there is to have some balance between, silent solo activities, interactive activities if they're talking to you. And then I would also say, add on to that, like paper and pencil, because I have talked to some parents who felt like their kids were doing fine as they were homeschooling, but what happened is they were like all computer based. And then they realized that certain things weren't developed. They didn't write. They didn't know how to write their name. They didn't know how to, just different things that that a computer's not going to ask you to do, or that you're not going to have to do on the computer.
Exactly.
Right? And so your child has some deficits, some big gaps, because they just been on the computer.
Right.
And the computer, the way it functions, it may just ask you certain types of questions and move you on. And a lot of times kids know how to like beat the system or whatever it is. But sitting down and writing something, developing those motor skills, communicating, talking, having conversations, like, those are things that, are big deficits as they're trying to interact with others, as they are trying to navigate through the world and don't know how to hold a pencil or whatever. Maybe that'll go away. I don't know. With technology, will we not have to use pencils in the no pens or pencils? But just having a balance is really important, right? Of course, if, Ms. Moseley was only doing, talking and getting, what do you call it? Like, just a more social support with other students and doing things as partners. And that's the only thing she's doing all year. Of course, students will grow, but when it's time to do things on their own, we don't know if they're able to do it. Some kids might be able to do it and some kids won't, because just that experience of being able to navigate something on their own isn't there.
Right.
Where at the same time, everything can't be silent and solo, because you don't know what, you need to know what they know, what they don't know. They need to be able to talk.
Right.
I mean, a holistic education is reading, writing, listening, speaking. And that's just the literacy part. But whatever content area, they should be reading, writing, listening, and speaking with that content area, right?
Yeah.
If it's science, all those things. If it's math, it's all those things. So it shouldn't just be like one particular aspect of language and literacy. So
yeah, that was very well said. That was excellent. Yes. You check all the boxes. All your boxes are yes, 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 yes.
Thank you. Yeah. No.
So yeah, I even tell my kids, it's really important to learn how to read, and they're all on board. Like, they want to know how to read. If I say, okay, you guys, are we readers today? And they're like, yes. But equally important is how to listen to someone speaking, how to respond, how to speak, and how to, ask additional questions, ask follow-up questions. Like, those are all a part of understanding that the text that you're reading has lots of parts. There are people having conversation. There's predicting what's going to happen next. There's foreshadowing. There's all these things that are going on. And I think interhuman communication is a part of those higher level developmental reading skills that they're going to get, in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. So I really want to, like I started off in the beginning of the podcast talking about, that's one of the things I really wanted to work on this year, was getting the kids to have conversations. Even when they start arguing, No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. I was like, okay, let's see if we can break this down and have a complete thought and a complete sentence and justify why you're saying XYZ, and to see that they do. Like, they will sit and have a conversation, and
Yeah.
they're growing. They're literally growing in the way that they respond. So now I did not take your place in line because we're all going to the same place. So really, anywhere you stand in line is fine. Well, there you go. There's no prize for getting to the gym first. So really, anywhere you stand is fine. I mean, this is my first graders, So
Yes, absolutely.
having conversations, using complete sentences.
I love that. Right. And just being able to get along in the world. Like, I know a lot of times we talk about college, career, and all this, but it's like there's something to be said just about being able to get along with people, make it through the world, navigate to conflict, communicate clearly, just day to day, right? If it's picking up your mail or it's going in to a customer service agent and getting something returned or whatever. These are just skills that the students need, and we use them every day. So we know they need them, right? Several times a day.
Like my students they even answer the phone. You're getting calls from the office. I taught my kids to answer the phone. They say, student speaking. And, if they don't understand, we had this one kid didn't understand what the secretary said and just hung up the phone. And I said, well, what did she say? I don't know. So I had to call back so we had to have a whole conversation about, okay, how do you ask someone to you didn't hear what they said. So what should you say? You should say, can you please repeat that? So I've had kids, they're looking at me, they're looking at the phone and they go, can you repeat that? And it's one of those just moments where I'm so proud of them that they're actually using those listening and speaking skills and advocating for themselves. I didn't hear you. Can you say it again? Oh, so home, they need to take their backpack and get their lunch kit and go home, go to the office. So I'm very proud of my little firsties. And, I think in a world where we are people are talking and nobody's listening, nobody's hearing what the other person is hearing, or sometimes we're listening already with judgment, or we're listening with already these notions.
My response, yes.
What we're gonna say instead of leaning into let me really hear what this person is saying. I hope that this is in some way building a good foundation for them to be able to think critically. To even sometimes I ask them to go home and ask their parents about certain topics that we're learning. Ask your parents if they know anything about, like today we studied the Maya. Like, ask them if they know anything about it, and then share what you've learned. Have a conversation with your parents outside of, you take me to McDonald's, So, and even to have to come back and ask them like, oh, so what did your parents say? Did you talk to them about what you're learning? And some of them are like, oh yeah, I did. I told my mom what we're learning, and this is what they had to say. And so I love these little kiddos. And even though I'm very tired, very tired. And at the end of the day, I'm like, my throat feels, I hope I'm not coming down with something, because it is that season. It's also that time of year. Oh yeah, parents, if your kids don't feel well and they're complaining about the runny nose and the headaches, you should keep them home, please. So I hope I'm not coming down with something, but are
you qualified to say that? You're a nurse. No display.
I am, because I had flu A last year, and I have had several kids with lots of hand, foot, and mouth. Have you heard of that? I never even heard.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I'm scared of it.
And we've had quite a few kids with that. More, and I was like, if your kid is showing you their hands and has got this, you can keep them home. It's fine.
Keep them home.
Right. But yeah,
Okay,
I'm ready for a break. I love my kids. We had it's been a great semester. I feel really strong that they're going to go into the next semester, really showing a lot of growth. So we'll see.
Love it. This is great. Okay. Well, I really appreciate everyone who has, tuned into, logged into the Falling for Learning podcast. Please like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And we appreciate you. Hopefully you have a great holiday season, and we will see you soon. Have a great week.
All right.
Thanks again for supporting the Falling for Learning podcast. New episodes go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. You can watch us on youtube.com at Falling for Learning, or listen on all major podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, Audible, Spotify, and much more. For more resources, visit fallinginlovewithlearning.com. We really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week.